The ATS D4 model of the 1980 Formula One season was not only beautiful, but also a competitive midfield car. However, 1980 would not bring the success the team was hoping for. ATS, Autotechnisch und Spezialzubehör, is a German company that is specialized in making lightweight wheels for road and racing cars. How is your German?
Wie den Rädern von ATS. Die kommen aus dem Motorsport. Die kennen Performance im Grenzbereich. Perfekt für Adrenalinhelden wie mich. 50 Jahre Rennsporttradition. ATS. Nothing beats performance.
The ATS company was founded by Günther Schmid in 1969. After sponsoring national motorsport events, Schmid decided to enter Grand Prix racing with his own team in 1977. The ATS Formula One team would last until 1984. In 1988 and 1989, Günther Schmid made a short comeback with his new real team, but that's a story for another video. By 1980, Günther Schmid already had a notorious reputation in Formula One. He was known to be a hard man towards his drivers and employees. A conflict within the team was never far away with having Günther Schmid around. Up until 1980, the results of the ATS team were poor, mainly due to not having a competitive car design. In order to make a step forward, the young and talented Gustav Brunner was hired to design the new ATS D4 model for the 1980 season. The D4 was a typical ground effect wing car design with sliding skirts, which was the way to go fast in 1980. The D4 would prove to be a capable midfield car. In the next two clips, you will get a very good explanation about a ground effect wing car and the effect of skirts. The underside of a typical wing car is shaped like an upside down aircraft wing. This forces air to travel faster under the wing than over it. This creates a low pressure area under the wing, sucking it down to the road. Between the road and the sides of the car, the high pressure air is spilling into the low pressure air. To prevent this spilling, a skirt is used to keep the underbody of the car a low pressure area. This leads to incredible downforce performance.
10 years before, Grand Prix cars had been slim cigars, with little or nothing in the way of wings. By 1980, a Formula One car was one big wing, shaped on its top and bottom surfaces to stick to the track. The best way to appreciate the look of the wing cars was from the front, where their width and the isolation of the driver in the middle of the aerodynamic pontoons on either side was most obvious.
The ATS was powered by a 3-liter Ford Cosworth DFV V8. This engine was used by most Formula One teams in 1980. Regular drivers for 1980 were Dutchman Jan Lammers and Swiss Marc Surer. Later in the year, Lammers would be replaced by Austrian Harald Ertl. Now that's a serious schnurrbart, mustache for English-speaking people. In an interview, Jan Lammers explains how he got his seat at ATS.
I started the year with Günther Schmid at ATS, and he thought we had Heineken of a sponsor, but we didn't have Heineken of a sponsor. So at Wolfgang Köpp was the manager from ATS at that moment, and at some point he got very nervous and he said well, I don't care if, we said we don't have Heineken as a sponsor. Yeah, well, whatever you can come up with. If you don't have Heineken, fine, but come up with something else, because Günther Schmid is going to kill me if I tell him that you have nothing. I said, yeah, but we do have nothing. Oh my God. So I said to my manager in Holland, I said, let's go to Günther. So we went to Germany, we sat down and we told Günther, listen, Günther, we have no money, zero. So he fell off his chair and he thought oh my God, because the car was ready, everything was prepared, he invested his money in it, and we had no money. So very embarrassing for us, of course, but also a difficult situation. Then I said to Günther, I said, okay, why not do it like this? We just make a deal for 100,000 per race. In those days, you spoke about that kind of money. So let's say like I do 2 races and we make an agreement for 200,000 Deutschmarks, dollars, whatever it was, 200,000. And if after 2 races I haven't found a sponsor, that's it. I leave the team. I owe you 200. I haven't got that now, but for the rest of my life, I can see myself earning that. So I will pay you. I don't know how long it will take me, but that's it. So after 2 races, I had no money. I was out. The car was pretty bad because we were running 2 cars, a 2-car team, and ATS wasn't ready for that. So the equipment was pretty bad, and then I fell out of Formula One. I just went to South Africa just to watch the race and to see if a miracle would happen. A miracle didn't happen, but an accident happened with Marc Surer.
But the most serious accident occurs during the trials, when the ATS of Marc Surer crashes head-on into a cement wall. The driver's legs are broken, and he remains imprisoned inside the wreckage. Surer's recovery is a slow and difficult one.
...1980, it's your first full season of Formula One, 3rd race of the season, I think it was. You have this crash. How much of a setback was it, and how tough was it to get yourself back in the cockpit?
Before with Günther Schmidt with the ATS, with the first crash, they never confirmed that we had a brake problem. Even I came to the pit and said I have a long pedal, and they said, can you go and do one time with soft tires, because so we are qualified. So they sent me out with a brake problem, and the first crash was, I thought I'm dead. I saw the wall coming, I hit the wall straight on, because without brakes, and I thought that's it. And I was surprised I'm still alive. And then, of course, you go to hospital, you feel sorry for yourself, and then you want to come back. You want to come back and prove you're still fit and strong enough to do it.
How long were you in hospital in South Africa? When could you come back to Europe?
The people in South Africa, that was very hard. They said, we cannot operate these legs. The braking is too complicated.
What were they suggesting then?
Sending me to Switzerland, because they had some sort of meeting with doctors, and they showed the latest, what they can do, how to put a broken ankle together. And there was a Swiss who showed a new technique with metal and everything, so no plaster, just with metal bolting everything together. At this time there was a big step forward, and they said, we know a doctor in Switzerland who can do it. It was by luck Switzerland, you know. And so after, I think I was there for 4 or 5 days, maybe 1 week, and then they sent me back to Switzerland in the plane. I needed six seats lying down in the... So I was happy to go back to Switzerland, but of course the shock when they say we cannot do it is too complicated. You will not be able to walk the rest of your life if we do it.
Happily, Marc Surer would recover from his wounds and rejoined ATS during the summer. ATS high point of the season was at Long Beach, California. Jan Lammers managed to qualify his ATS in an incredible 4th position.
Now look, let's fast forward to the following year, 1980, the D4 ATS. Let's talk Long Beach. You qualified 4th, an extraordinary performance. Just how good was that lap?
In those days, if you were the quickest driver team, you got the soft tires. So I got the same tires as the front runners. So I was just doing the same thing what I've been doing for years. And then I get past that pit straight and I see P1 on my board, you know, in Formula One after being in there for like 17, 18 months. And I thought, P1? And I immediately went straight onto the escape road because I was so confused. So I made a donut and continued. And for like 50 minutes, I was P1. Then later on, you know, I trundled back to P4. But still, I thought like, okay, I'm never going to doubt myself anymore, ever. Because I did exactly the same thing as I did 3 weeks before. Now I have a good car and I'm running up front. So I promised myself, like, doubt is a total waste of time.
But was it a particularly clean lap?
Do
you remember it
not
as being very satisfying?
No, it was a good lap, and it is Long Beach is a track where it's all like how do you say that, spontaneously. Hey, you just act, you don't think. Silverstone I always found difficult. You have so much time to think on that straight, like I'm going to take it flat. So you can think too much. But Long Beach is just all responsive, like downhill slalom skiing. You just do, you don't think. So it was a lap that went very well. I knew it was a good lap, and then I came sort of onto the pit straight, and you went over a bit of a hump on the apex. I obviously went a bit too quick, and I knew I was going to hit the wall, but I didn't care. So I just brushed the wall, and because the finish line was like 50 meters further. So I finished that lap, having known that I've hit the left rear. So that was a good lap.
To give you a good impression of Long Beach, let's do a quick lap on board with Patrick Depailler.
But the next day I paid the price for it because 200 meters after the start, I broke my drive shaft, the one that I damaged myself probably. Roy Tops was our mechanic, and he's a fantastic mechanic. But we didn't have many spare parts, so I think the left drive shaft broke from what I did myself the day before. But that was an experience, going from hero to zero. Then we had Monaco later on, and I feel that there also I would have been able to qualify in the second row, and maybe even better than that, because I really had a fantastic lap. Now these days we would all remember if you had 2 times purple and then the last sector you run into traffic, then we all remember like, oh, you could have had pole there. I had a lap like that, so the first 2 sectors were really very, very good. They felt brilliant, but then I came around the swimming pool, and then there was I believe Keke Rosberg, the father of Nico. He was there driving slowly, so my lap was gone, so I ended up being 13th on the grid. And then in the race there was the accident where the Tyrrell just somersaulted through the
Derek Daly,
with Derek Daly. That accident just took place. I waited until all the mess was settled, and then I thought, okay, now I can drive by. And as I drove by, Riccardo Patrese just came reversing out of that pileup. So I hit my right rear tire, so I was in the pit for like maybe 5 or 6 laps. So when I got back onto the track, I was behind Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari. He was running second, and I could follow him. So the speed was there. I think later I saw that I had like the 4th quickest time in the race. race. So the speed was there, but it's something that evaporates and nobody will ever know.
We know now.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was nice, and I'm proud of that. Then we went to Zolder. I was running in between the Ferraris. I was catching Jody, I believe. I was P6. I was catching Jody and driving away from Gilles, or the other way around. I can't quite remember. Then my gearbox broke. You know, so those were good races. And then to finalize that story, I think it was 81 in South Africa, where Nelson was leading. Elio De Angelis was running second, and I went from 10th to 3rd on the first lap. I was about to pass Elio on the second lap, and we touched, and my wheel was gone.
Lammers is having his moment of glory, but soon finds out how fleeting it is.
Was there ever talk of you staying at ATS for the remainder of the 1980 season, or was Marc Surer always going to come back and retake his seat?
Yeah, I think Marc was always going to come back because Gunther Schmid had an image of being a very German, you know, and I want not have this anymore. That's literally translated from German. Ich möchte das nicht haben. But you know, so you can always make fun of the character side of somebody. It's almost like a cartoon. So people sometimes made fun of him, but he was a great guy, and he was straightforward, he was honest. So I think that was the proof that he just promised Surer that he could get back, and although we were doing good, he got his seat back.
In the final standings of the 1980 season, ATS ended up in 12th position with 0 points, but to put it positively, only 2 places behind Ferrari. Well guys, if you like this kind of videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I see you all at my next Classic Formula 1 video. Thanks for watching.
50 Jahre Rennsporttradition. ATS. Nothing beats Performance.